You do feel, I have to say, you do, without making it sound pretentious, you do feel...
I don't get the pretentiousness at all.
Well,
I get,
there is no pretentiousness. It's quite the reverse, actually.
Yeah, I really get a lovely sense of warmth as well from this.
It is, warmth is a very good word. I mean, there is a genuine... And of course, the final thing I must talk about, and thank you for the prompt with the warmth thing, is the staff. I mean, that's really what, apart from all the other stuff that we've talked about, you know, the staff are just amazing.
How do you, I was going to ask you this, how do you select your staff, or how do you...
Carefully, is the word.
Okay.
That's a very good question.
Yeah.
I mean, for example, just one part, we have, in relative terms, we have, for example, a Thai spa on board that is staffed by 8 Thai ladies. Now that's big. That's big for a ship of only 112 guests.
It's very big.
Yeah.
And not only that, but Thai, my favourite massage is the Thai massage.
Exactly.
I absolutely...
Exactly.
It's the stretching, and I do like yoga, and it's the stretching.
Well, that often the day starts with a free yoga class. You know, 7 o'clock in the morning, up on deck. Can you imagine the sun's coming up and the people are waking up on their Balinese beds, and then there's a yoga and meditation going on. So it's we're very green and health conscious as well on board. But no, the staff, to answer your question, I mean, they come from South Africa, from the Philippines, as you would expect, you know, a couple of Eastern European type of, but it's just, they just are selected, they're interviewed to buy into that very personal concept of, you know, you interact with people, you find they find their level with you very, very quickly. I mean, my 9-year-old son was lucky enough to be with us. They were amazing with him. But equally, I saw how they interacted with an American, slightly older couple who wanted a little bit more formality in the way they were. And that's what they do. They measure that very quickly. But, you know, there's
nowhere to hide.
That's a very good point.
As a staff member, and that would put a lot of people off, because they would think, you know, as crew members.
Well, as crew members, you mean, yes.
Because they think, my word, that's a really involved job. And,
yeah, there is nowhere to hide.
And there's nowhere to hide, and that means you get the best of the best.
Yeah, you do.
Because you only get people that really want to be there for other people.
Yeah, that's true, actually. And that comes across. The staff mentality and the attitude of the staff is just delightful. I mean, it's almost, without, again, overstating it, I mean, you know, some of the ladies that were getting off were almost in tears with this experience, this interaction that they'd had with, you know, Mikey and Steve and Phil and Thomas and Eugene from the Philippines, because it became so much fun, personal, personal, but at the same time not at all intrusive.
No.
You know, but it just, and it's a good fun. You know, you've got the cocktail. We've got a bar at the top of the ship called the Top of the Yacht, which is kind of the nerve centre outside. You know, when the ship is sailing in the evening and people are having cocktails and stuff, and the South African barman up there is spinning the bottles, and there's a bit of music going, but it's not a disco, but there's a bit of music going. There's a great atmosphere, and people are sat at the bar, and people are sat in the beautiful sofas around the bar, and he's spinning and doing a bit of a show.
Flashing, they call it flashing.
Flashing, that's it.
It gives the wrong impression. But,
no, it does, yes.
My South African barman was flashing me, but that actually is...
But exactly, so it creates that kind of atmosphere, and again, because everything's inclusive, you know, and that allows, of course, as you would know from being at sea, if everything is inclusive, it allows your staff to go the extra mile, because if you've got a nice glass of red wine on the go, you know, instead of, you know, when Eugene turns up and says, well, he doesn't say anything actually, Eugene turns up and tops up your glass, you know, he knows that there's no embarrassment about you having to say, oh, there's another chitty to sign, or that's $5 or £7 or £8, and so you say, well, thank you very much, that's a nice relaxed atmosphere. People often say to me, do people drink too much? And actually, it doesn't seem to happen. It doesn't seem to happen. Do you perhaps have an extra glass of wine with lunch that you might not? You are on holiday.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
Yeah.
And what it does is create, as I say, that atmosphere where you don't have to say, excuse me. And of course, the next night they remember that you had perhaps a gin and tonic before dinner, so your gin and tonic arrives as you sit down. So
and
that's
not just that, and I'm going to go from the crew side again, and
yes.
as I always do, because the pressure is off them to feel like I have to I have to
sell it
and push it.
That's
and,
a very good.
You
that's
know,
a very good
actually
point.
push this drink on because I need to make a bit of money myself.
That's a very good point.
Because I'm going to get money by how many drinks I sell. Because it's all inclusive.
Exactly.
You know, there's no need for them to be
to stand back or to and it allows, and of course it becomes good fun because one night there were some people that we sat with, a charming young American couple. You know, she was like, well, I'm not a big drinker. But why not? I'm on holiday, I'll have a cocktail. And she said to the waiter, surprise me. I like this sort of taste and that sort of taste. And he came off and he made her a cocktail and brought it back. And it became a bit of a focal point of the evening. The next night it was like, you know, Janet, what's your cocktail going to be tonight? And the waiter would bring her, and she went through mojitos and cosmopolitans and Manhattans. I think she liked the Manhattans actually. but there was no. Well, I'm not going to do that because it'll be $12 and I might not like it. She did like them, by the way, but it was great fun and it became a kind of
an event.
An event,
yes,
an ideal event, and it was a service-driven event, you know, and it became fun. You'd sit down by the third night, and all these drinks would appear at the table, and then you'd have a bit of fun with the waiter and say, "Well, actually, Eugene, I didn't want a little vodka and tonic." "Oh, I'm sorry," and I'm joking, you know. But there's no, so that's how it becomes, and I just think the inclusive, and the other thing people sometimes say is, "Well, I don't drink very much, so." That's not a big deal for me, the fact that it's all inclusive. And my answer is no, okay, fine, but you do probably drink cordials and a Coke and cappuccinos and lattes and a cup of tea. That's all included too. And you will mix with people that do. So when you dine, you know, I've been in those environments on some of those big ships that you've been on, where you're on a table for 6 or 7 or 8. Some people want to drink some wine, other people don't, and other people don't drink, and you feel a bit embarrassed about ordering a bottle of wine, and that's just going to be for you and me, right. And you can't have any because I don't know who you are. So there's none of that. There's none of that going on. You sit down and they come to the table, and there's 3 or 4 good wines that are offered that night. You know, a New World Red, you know, a traditional, Old World Red, and you say, yeah, that's very nice. Have you got a Sancerre? Yes, I'll go and get you one of those. Very easy. Of course, there is as you would expect, there is a menu. So if you want to drink, you know, Dom Perignon or Chateau Gloria or every night, you can order off that and you can buy. But it's not necessary unless you really are into your wine and you feel you should do that. So it creates, as you would know from the service side, it creates that an atmosphere already that, you know, whether you're having a drink or not, you know, whether your drink is a Coca-Cola or a Cosmopolitan, you know, the waiters can have fun with you and it becomes very personal, and the staff are amazing. The staff are just amazing, and you just have this sense that you almost don't want to trouble them because they do so much for you.
Well, I'm sold. I'm honestly searching for my wallet.
Well, we'll get you on. Let's get you on.
I really am. Give us the idea in maybe 3 words or a sentence of the Sea Dream experience.
Okay, I would say luxurious, unstructured, and boutique. And if you think about what those words mean, that's what they are. It's a very unstructured product, incredibly luxurious at the same time, but very boutique and intimate. It's fab.
Andy Magowan, thank you very much indeed.
My pleasure. Thank you.